it is a pleasure to nominate Judith Moses as the next Liberal candidate for St. Paul's and the next MPP for St. Paul's. I recognize many of the people in this room from the time I served for 8 years as the MPP for Eglinton, which later, through redistribution, became part of St. Paul's. I know the riding, I know the people in it, and I am a long-time member of St. Paul's. I am supporting Judith because I know what it takes to be an MPP, and I know Judith has what it takes to be an MPP. She has the skills and the talents to do the job and do it well. We need more women elected to Queen's Park, particularly women like Judith, who are intelligent, committed, compassionate, and experienced. Judith would be the first Aboriginal woman to sit in the Legislative Assembly, something which would bring great pride to the people of this province, the people of St. Paul's, and to all Liberals. Judith's extensive experience in government, including that of a senior assistant deputy minister, will be invaluable in working with the bureaucrats. And believe me, from experience, I can tell you that you cannot accomplish anything at Queen's Park unless you have the support of the bureaucrats. Judith's experience as an economic sector analyst in the Privy Council office shows her strength in knowing both government and the economy. And what better and more valuable skills would you want today? Judith has experience in government, in training, in human resources, and in labor. She's also the mom of 3 sons, so I think that gives her a little bit of extra experience that we would find very valuable. Most of all, Judith is a long-time Liberal who cares about people and will bring us that warmth and vitality. I am delighted to nominate Judith Moses as our Liberal candidate and urge you to vote for Judith as the first and best choice.
I am deeply, deeply honored to be here. And hello, Liberal family of St. Paul's, and welcome. Bonsoir et bienvenue, mesdames et messieurs. Wow, there are more Liberals here tonight than I saw in 18 months of campaigning up in 905 land last year in the last federal election. You are all wonderful. As someone who lives in St. Paul's, I thoroughly enjoyed meeting you and talking to you these past 2 weeks. And I am honored to run against such worthy opponents. We had a short, intense campaign. Tonight, our real work begins. Tonight, we begin the campaign to keep St. Paul's Liberal. Ce soir, nous allons choisir le candidat ou candidate libéral pour gagner l'élection partielle. En ceci, je suis fier de me présenter comme candidat. This will be a big midterm test for the Liberal team. And we must not let Tim Hudick win. Tonight, we put our party first. Tonight, we send the strongest signal to Tim. The people of St. Paul's and the Ontario Liberal Party will not tolerate a return to the right-wing days of the Harris government. Tonight, we elect that person who is going to keep St. Paul's Liberal. We live in especially challenging times on the economic and the social front. I believe that St. Paul should elect someone with a proven track record, someone who can pitch in right from the get-go, and I believe that I am that person. There are only 2 things I think you need to consider tonight in making your decision. One is experience, and the second is community engagement. I bring to you 30 years of making government work. I can hit the ground running on virtually any issue, but especially on the economy. Anyone can say that we need to focus on growth industries like IT, green technologies, digital media, arts and culture. Anyone can say that we need to shift to more globally competitive manufacturing. Anyone can say that we should expand trade and markets. Anyone can say we should put our trained and educated youth to work. But I offer the how to do it, not just the what to do it. I spearheaded transition programs for Canadian industries affected by the NAFTA agreement. The results are still there today. Partnership councils with business, labor, colleges, universities, all levels of government working together in such areas as arts and culture, the environment, software, forestry, and some of our older industries like mining and auto parts as well. I was the point person in setting up the Canadian Space Agency, which continues to do all of us proud. I worked on export financing and third world aid policy. I was the CEO of Training and Development Canada. I orchestrated the right transfer payments to farmers in times of food security crises in this country. I set up programs for rural Canadians during difficult times, and I worked with the Federal Youth Minister to launch the second biggest public marketing initiative in Canada, the Stay in School Initiative, which was to stem Canada's 33% national dropout high school rate at that time. I advised 4 prime ministers in the Privy Council office in Ottawa, and advised our own premier in the Cabinet office about how to make government work better. Premier McGuinty launched the new Consolidated Government Services Ministry as a result of the task force that I led. All of this is about having a deep reservoir of understanding and skill about governing and how to make government work better. Government is a work in progress. I am profoundly and have been profoundly committed to that. I need no on-the-job training. You put me to work tomorrow, I'm there. The second thing that should influence your decision is who can best represent St. Paul's in engaging the community. My passion, and we all good Liberals have our passions, my particular one is working with immigrant and Aboriginal families in early childhood learning. I do that because my experience has told me that social investment in very young children pays off in economic and social terms for taxpayers and for the kids. A couple weeks ago, we had graduations in Toronto here in the Malvern, Jane Finch, Flemington Park, and Davenport areas for our 3-year-olds. You should have seen the pride and the confidence in those parents and kids. For many of those people in that community, it was their very first relationship with Canada and Canadians outside of their own ethnic group. The kids are confident about entering the school system, and the parents are now ready to advocate for their kids in the school system. I help out in every community that I'm in. I was the outreach chair for Anglican parishes in Toronto and Ottawa. I was on the board of governors of Carleton University. I was on the board of the Friends of the Museum of Civilization in Canada. I am on the board of the Women's Institute in Ontario. And I also worked with the Governor General as a program chair for one of the previous Governor General study conferences. I worked with the Canadian Legion in Bradford when I ran up north for the Liberals last fall in York Simcoe. I would like to close on a personal note. My parents, Bob and Lee Moses, are here from 6 Nations. I watched them vote for the very first time in this country, not because they were immigrants, but because they were status Indians who were not allowed to vote until my lifetime. And I think it's about time we see Aboriginal people stepping up and running for office. I think it's time to make this province more reflective of its citizens. Yes, I am an Aboriginal woman, but more importantly, look at me as someone who can hit the ground running. Ladies and gentlemen, I offer you my candidacy, my experience, my commitment to community engagement, and my passion for making government better. Ladies and gentlemen, please vote Judith Moses. Thank you.